course charter connoisseurs. You have already filled out some information on your course charter. You've done the course project at a glance in the assessment. You've also filled in the first section here with all of your general approach, course maintenance, that sort of thing. Now we're going to just dig a little bit deeper. The next item that you come to in the course charter is the course project team and responsibilities. Here is a place where you can lay out the name or names of your subject matter experts who is doing the writing, who is the content specialist, and if you need to add more people, you can add additional rows onto this and give them the responsibilities. Now, sometimes a content specialist is going to be doing the writing of the course. You can just move these bullets down into the content specialist area. So just highlight these and grab them and paste them down in content specialist and delete this first row. The next section of the project charter is the project milestones. This is a little deeper and it's going to take you some time to think through this. The tasks that people have to complete are in the left-hand column. The number of hours that are estimated to complete those tasks are in the content specialist, teacher SME, and later on in the teacher of the course in their column. There's also an estimated due date column, and this will be a column that you will fill out and just estimate the dates that these things are going to have to occur by in order to meet your timeline for getting this course out to students. You're completely able to edit these and change the numbers here. However, you are going to want to update down here. You can use the little formula to re-edit this. Let's say that you think that this is going to take 2 hours. Just come in here and go formula, and it's going to automatically fill in some because that's the one that's normally done. And say OK, and it'll update that. Now notice I did have to put a 0 in this column in order to update that. So you're just going to want to double check that you have zeros in the column in order to update. Highlight, formula, OK, and it'll update. The next area is design, and this is where you're going to be laying out the scope and sequence of your course. You're going to fill out the curriculum map. And this is going to have a plan for your course, your standards, what do your assessments look like, what do your lessons look like. All of these things are going to be filled out for the entire course. So this is going to take some time. Usually I've seen it takes a subject matter expert about 30 hours to fill this out. You may want to divide this into section A and section B work, so have them do section A and then complete all of the development of section A and then do section B in the curriculum map, and then split this time in half here. As we do the curriculum development projects, we can make those decisions. The next area is the actual development of a proof of concept module. Now, based on interviews with your content specialist, we have estimated how much time it would take to do these activities for a unit. You may have differences of opinions. For instance, down here, this is writing an assessment specification document that lays out what your assessments look like, how many parent and child items you have, and it actually includes the writing of those documents. Now for a unit, some of you are going to have a lot of objective tests, and some of you will have subjective tests. So this number is going to vary. The upper number here is probably for your math courses, probably science too, where you're going to have a lot of parent-child questions to write. The lower number might be for the courses that just have a unit test or maybe a quiz or two, where you can do that writing for the unit much more quickly. Now we are assuming that units are 10 or fewer lessons, more likely in the middle of that range. So you can alter this based on your knowledge of content development to be how many hours you think it's going to take to do this proof of concept unit, write the assessments. There will be a rubric to review those. and time to create assessments in Respondus if needed. You can actually delete this or put a 0 here if you don't have Respondus. You'll need time to create Dropbox assignments and move Respondus into the learning management system. So you see step by step, everything that needs to take place is estimated here. Here is the time to write or remodel the content for each lesson. And this is the content specialist time. This is your writer time. So this might be a little longer. It might be a little shorter depending on whether you have content or not. So as you're writing this and filling this in, you're going to need to decide, am I just revising lessons and this is going to be a smaller number, or do I actually have to write from scratch every lesson and this is going to be a larger number? So you have several decisions to make as you read through here. As you go down here, you're going to see development of Section A. The estimates here are based on 4 units remaining in Section A because this proof of concept is your first unit in Section A. So there's a little place here to put how many units you're estimating here. So if you are doing, if you're doing more development here and you have maybe 6 units remaining, you're going to want to use the ratio here and figure out how many hours you're really going to need and put a real number here. This is a range. Upper range is probably for math, lower range is more for your social studies, English type courses. These are your assessments now. And your to do your formulas and your addition at the bottom, you're going to want to have a number in here. So just make an estimate. Again, you can fill in some due dates of what your final date is for reaching these things. If you have any changes, make sure to update with your formula. And then here is your section B, same issues along in section B until you get to the bottom. And this is your launch checklist to make sure your course is ready. And then a go, no-go decision with the team. You then implement the course, and there could be teacher training. The teacher's teaching is ongoing. They're going to give you feedback as they go through, and you might have to make some edits to content. And then at 45 days in section A, you're going to do a review of what has happened in the course so far, see if there's any edits that need to be made. And then in section B, as you're teaching that, there will be a 90-day review and anything that you think might need to get done on that course, or anything that you think happened during the project that might be good to know for the future, like, oh, we did this in the project and it's really affecting how we're teaching this course. That type of thing needs to get surfaced here. And then we get to the next section. This is a risk assessment. So as you are thinking through what could go wrong during development, we're going to capture that in here. One of the common things to go wrong is that teachers just don't have enough time to write. So you would write that risk down, that risk level, and if you look here, the risk level is not the likelihood. The likelihood is also low, medium, and high. So this is a definitely high likelihood that teachers are not going to have enough time. What is the risk level to your project? Well, if you think about somebody not having enough time to write a course, that risk level falls very high because then you don't have any course content. Now, how would you mitigate that? Well, the content specialist could take that on. You could have multiple subject matter experts. There are multiple ways to mitigate that. You could even consider outsourcing, that sort of thing. So what is the risk? How critical is that risk? What could it do to your project? How likely is it to happen? And then how might you be able to mitigate that now by planning ahead? There are a couple of assumptions here that you're going to have teacher subject matter experts that are going to dedicate hours Admins are going to be able to turn around approvals. You can add other things to your assumptions list. There are some cost projections here. So these are your external costs, not internal costs. If you are paying for people to develop content, then that actually turns into an external cost, and you're going to probably want to add that in here as external development. Are there materials for the course? Is there a required book? Is there something that you have to send out? How many are you going to need for your cohort that's going to go through annually? How much do they cost? Is that going to be something that continues? Do you have to buy that same number every year? Are you going to have more students next year? You might want to put that in the notes. Is this an actual or is it an estimate? So you're just going to go down through there and think through anything that might cost CVA money as you go through. Communication plan is next. How will you stay engaged with your team? So these are some common items that take place during course development. You can pick which ones you want to do. You can flesh them out. These go along with the processes that have been set up. So you will definitely want to think about keeping these and add on what else you think that you need in order to keep engaged with the team. And finally, there's a place at the bottom for you to give a recommendation. The whole purpose of doing this charter is to decide and give a recommendation to administration whether you should do this project or not. There have been so many times when I have gone through a whole charter and my recommendation was, no, I don't think we should do this. So don't be afraid to go through something and say, the amount of time and money that's going to go into this does not align with how many students we think we're going to get here, and we just don't think that we should go forward. So, you may want to talk with your team that is putting this charter together and make that final decision. And then your administrator will get this, you'll talk through it with them, and then if they sign off that you're going to go through this, they're going to fill out the authorization. They can send an email into the content specialist and just put email here, what date that was, and whether they authorized it. Now, if your recommendation is not to move forward, they would not authorize this. So you would just file this, and maybe it's just a timing issue. So you don't want to get rid of it. You want to file it somewhere in your filing system for your school. And maybe you need to bring it out next year. So you would revisit this in the future. All right. There is a lot of information on a course charter. Reach out to your facilitator if you have any needs as you start doing real charters. But hopefully this gave you a little bit of an overview of the different sections.